want out of them. They cannot afford the insurance or the. That's exactly what happened to me. I was still paying insurance on my car when it was broke for 2 3 months. So that's well. Another thing that's happening is that uh, the bonds, all the stupid treasury bonds or all the corporate bonds, they are on a suicide watch. They're going, they're selling at deep discounts. I don't know. Nobody even talks about corporate bonds. They at how much discount they're selling. The interest rate is really going up on them, but in the United States there is a kibosh on real news, so you really don't hear what's happening in certain markets. Well, on the commercial real estate market, the only news that I only heard it from Celente. There is like total blackout on discussing commercial real estate, and Celente was saying that the occupancy rate in many markets, commercial real estate like office buildings, has collapsed to 62% vacancy or 57% vacancy. That's very high vacancy rate. In fact, the real value of many office buildings are in correspondence to the income they generate, and the income they generate, if it sucks, that means that what's this income worth in 10 years? Well, that's the price of the building, and if in 10 years you're going to get jack shit for the building because it didn't generate anything in that 10 years or 20 years. Well, there's the same situation in many markets. I don't think that the Americans or the mainstream media is able to put down all the information that's coming out of the stock market, like Nasdaq, or because they're just too big of a market and they cannot, whitewash it. You know how, like in some towns, there's a lot of graffiti on the building. They say all kinds of shit, and every 2 weeks or a month, the man has to come out with a bucket of white paint and paint over this old shit. Well, in the energy market, in the oil market, the sanctions have jacked up the price of oil. I heard it's like 119. I think that it will go to 150. The Iranian government, it does publish some news, usually through secondary vloggers like Omid Dana or Parvin Zamani, and they are saying it's coming indirectly from the Yemenis Houthis, that the Yemenis Houthis will start pounding Saudi Arabia refineries and oil facilities after the Hajj ceremonies end, which is like about a month and a half. Then they're gonna start really pounding them. I don't know why such news. It should be like major news, and how the mainstream media is able to hide this stuff, and they just go on singing their happy songs and their narratives. It's bullshit. Their news is just narrative. There is nothing news. Well, the Iranian sources, I listened to them in Farsi. They're saying that the Russians have grabbed several U.S. sponsored biolabs, and they also confiscated newly developed viruses that and one of them is called I don't know this is a correct name, but sounded like bubonic monkey virus. And then I don't know what else that developed. There was other news earlier that the Turkish drones had loaded these things up and they had distributed it in all kinds of places. So basically, United States military or government has given up on nukes, but have gotten into developing viruses to kill off populations that they deem hostile. And in fact, this fucking place, the U.S. Territories, were developed when the earlier U.S. settlers they took chicken pox and they infected all the Indians. They're just basically doing the same stuff over again with a different population and different times. And somebody's going to kick their ass very, very hard. Well, I heard from Salente that United States has given $56 billion to Ukraine with all kinds of advanced anti-aircraft man-pads and God knows. And they also destroyed a major naval vessel Moscow-wide for the Russians. One of these days, the Russians are gonna like nuke Washington D.C. I think that if the Russians or the Chinese they nuked Washington D.C., they would be doing the greatest favors to the American people. They like kill these motherfuckers. But this way of thinking that many U.S. politicians, including Biden, have, that they secretly pump up all these weapons and money into Ukraine, it's going to backfire, and the Russians are gonna stick it to them very hard. I don't know what they'll do. It's like well, nobody here listens to Russian news agencies. At least I'm Iranian. I also listen to RT News, but I bet they're saying a few things like the Iranian government is saying like in about a month and a half we're gonna really fuck you over. But I don't know what the Russians are saying. We'll nuke Poland or nuke Finland or let's nuke Washington D.C. I heard from Iranian General Hajizadeh, a very high-ranking Iranian official, that he said one of these days we'll go to the sea, like the Persian Gulf, with our warships, and we'll come back towing a U.S. aircraft carrier. This is one, and I think that they will. Also, Iranian sources are saying that there is 0 hour is approaching Israel, and there is a lot of news there. But I think it will happen through the proxy. They have Hezbollah and Hamas, but we'll see. But I don't keep myself in oblivion like many Americans that don't listen to MSM. I keep my minds open, look around. I think in the United States there is only one real news source that is still alive. I would call him Salente, but in the past there were the Kaiser Report and Real News Network. I don't know what happened to Infowar. They were in YouTube. They've been disbanded, and then there was the USA Watchdog. But I think you can still get USA Watchdog by going to usawatchdog.org or .com. I don't know. Greg Hunter, he comes out even though he has got a lot of propaganda, pro-Trump propaganda, he still drills the news. A lot of the stuff about Ukraine was very true, very accurate reporting. Well, something happens to all these news sources that the Americans should be listening to, but we'll see how things shape up. Uh, Also, there is news that China is getting ready to attack Taiwan. There is some Iranian sources are saying that, and the Chinese military general visited Iran. They're they're coordinating something. Well, uh, oh, I forgot about the oil price. I think that we're gonna hit 150 per barrel soon, and or after a month and a half when the new attacks start, or when China attacks Taiwan, or another shit happens with the Russians. Things are going that way, and also Iranian government has warned OPEC that if they increase the production and damage the price of oil, will just hit you, will hit you very hard. I don't know what the Russians will do because they're also the beneficiary of the higher oil price. I think that we Iranians should be the beneficiary because of all the losses in war in Iraq or Afghanistan or Iran or Libya, and the Iranian government is capable militarily to exact war retribution, and we should, in all honesty, distribute some of these to these other nations that have gotten completely ruined, like Afghanistan or Iraq or even Libya. We'll see. I think Iran does give foreign aid, and I don't know to what extent. Well, I think that Biden, by insisting on more sanctions and the inflation that's going up, it has damaged his chance in the next election if he doesn't expire or somebody kill him. But the Democrats, they are going to lose the midterm, and even if I don't know if they dare to distribute all this stimulus, but the inflation is very high. I don't know if it could go through the House, or maybe Biden, in the last resort before the election, will suddenly start writing a lot of checks to Americans, kind of buying them off to help the Democrats win the election. They are a mess, and also if the Democrats lose too, it also signifies collapse of confidence in U.S. politicians. Stupid politicians that have made all this mess, all these wars, all this inflation. They deserve to get nuked, or at least lose the elections. Hey, thank you for being in my YouTube channel and my Instagram. Please subscribe and put a like. I actually do not receive any kind of financial support from any organization. I do appreciate some kind of support, even if it might be just visiting the site or stuff like that. Thank you. Yeah, have a good one.